He casually mocked the poor saleswoman when asking for financial advice, but the moment she spoke his name out loud, his smile vanished, his hands froze, and everyone around them fell silent. Subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and comment where in the world you're watching from, because now I'm going to tell you everything. Can someone tell me why I have to wait? I could buy this whole store. The voice was loud and sure. It cut through the quiet hum of the Walmart electronics section. A few people turned to look. Marcus Sterling held the sleek black phone box in his hand. He tapped his expensive shoe on the floor. The young worker at the counter, Josh, blinked slowly. "The system is just a little slow, sir," Josh said. He did not sound sorry. "My time is worth more than this," Marcus said, speaking to everyone and no one. "I have a meeting at 1 o'clock. My new house in Lake Forest has a security system that needs this phone to work." He smiled a wide smile. His teeth were very white. No one smiled back. Josh scanned the phone. "That will be $799, plus tax." Marcus pulled a black card from his wallet. He placed it on the counter with a snap. "Money is not a problem. The problem is waiting." He looked away from Josh, his eyes moving around the store. They passed over the televisions, the video games. They stopped in the clothing section. An old woman was there. She was small. She stood very still, folding a pile of bright blue shirts. The shirts cost $6 each. Her own sweater was faded. Her shoes were scuffed and old. Marcus watched her for a moment. A new idea lit up his eyes. It was not a kind idea. He took his new phone and his receipt. He did not thank Josh. He walked away from the counter, his steps loud and important. He walked straight toward the old woman. People moved out of his way. They felt him coming. The woman kept folding. She smoothed a sleeve with a gentle hand. Marcus stopped right in front of her. He held up his new phone. The shiny box caught the fluorescent lights. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said. His voice was still loud, but now it was sweet, like bad candy. "You look like a person who knows about hard work." The woman looked up. Her eyes were a pale green. They were clear and calm. She said nothing. Marcus smiled his smile that did not reach his eyes. "I need some financial advice. I have a lot of money to manage. Can you give me some tips?" A man looking at socks paused. A mother with a child in her cart stopped. They all listened. The old woman placed the folded shirt neatly on the pile. She looked right at Marcus. Her voice was soft, but every word was clear. "Marcus Sterling." Marcus's smile flickered. How did this woman know his name? "I knew your grandmother," the woman said. "Clara Sterling. She cleaned my house every week for 40 years. The air in the aisle changed. The loud store sounds seemed to fade away. Marcus's face went blank. "What?" "Clara was the best friend I ever had," the woman continued. Her soft voice filled the silence. "She was so proud of you. She talked about you every single Thursday." Marcus opened his mouth, but no sound came out. The woman took a small step forward. "Every week she put half of what I paid her into a savings account. It had your name on it. She called it Marcus's future. She did this for years and years." Marcus shook his head. "No, my first business loan came from my father." "It did not," the woman said, her tone firm but not angry. "That money, $8,452.17, was the seed. It came from her hands, her tired, blistered hands." Marcus felt a strange, dropping feeling in his stomach. He saw his grandmother's face. He saw her bringing him cookies. He saw her worn-out hands. The woman was not done. Her green eyes held his. "You look sick, Marcus, but you should listen. This is the only financial advice you will ever need." All around them, people were frozen. No one moved. A phone was held up, a small red light glowing. Josh watched from behind a rack of coats, his own phone pointed at the scene. Marcus Sterling, the man who could buy anything, could not find a single word. He could only stare at the woman in the old sweater, waiting for the world to fall back into place. But it would not. It had just changed forever. The silence in the aisle was thick and heavy. No one moved. All eyes were on the old woman and the rich man who now looked sick. Eleanor Dawson's soft voice did not get louder, but it carried further. "That is not the end of the story, Marcus." Marcus tried to speak. His mouth was dry. "My grandmother, she never said—" "She would never say," Eleanor corrected him gently. "She wanted you to feel like a self-made man. That was her gift to you. But you took that gift and you used it to hurt people. I didn't, Marcus started, but Eleanor held up a hand. It was a small, steady hand. Your first big warehouse, she said. The one you are so proud of. Do you know where that land is? Marcus blinked. He knew the address. He knew the profit numbers. He did not know the history. It is on the corner of Oak and Vine Road in Danville, Eleanor said. A deep sadness filled her eyes. My father planted an apple orchard there. I climbed those trees as a girl. I got married under one of them. A woman in the crowd put a hand over her mouth. When I got sick, the bills were very high, Eleanor continued. My husband was gone. I was alone. Your lawyers came. They offered me a price for the land. It was a very low price. They said it was a fair price. I was too sick and too tired to fight. I had to sell. One single tear rolled down Eleanor's wrinkled cheek. She did not wipe it away. You built your first victory on my family's memories and on my weakness. She looked at the shiny phone box still in his hand. The advice you asked for is not about money. You have plenty of money. It is about memory. You need to remember where you came from, and you need to remember all the people you walked over to get where you are. Marcus Sterling felt the world tilt. The bright lights of Walmart seemed too harsh. The faces staring at him were too close. He heard his own heart beating in his ears. He saw his grandmother's kind, tired face in his mind. He saw her handing him a jar of pennies she had saved for him. He had called that money cute. The shame was a hot, physical pain in his chest. It was hard to breathe. He looked at Eleanor's calm, sad face. He looked at the people recording him with their phones. He saw the young worker from the electronics counter, Josh, holding his phone perfectly still, capturing it all. Marcus took a step back, then another. His expensive shoe caught on the edge of a clothing rack. He stumbled. He turned away from Eleanor. He did not speak. He could not speak. He walked quickly, then faster, toward the front of the store. He dropped a new phone box on the floor near the registers. He pushed through the glass doors and out into the parking lot, gasping for air. Back in the clothing aisle, the spell broke. People started talking all at once in low, excited whispers. Josh lowered his phone, his thumb hitting the stop button. He stared at the screen. Whoa, he whispered to himself. He looked up. Eleanor was still standing by the table of shirts. She smoothed the fabric of the top shirt on her pile. Her hand was steady. Then she picked up her small, worn purse from under the table. She gave a small, polite nod to the people around her and walked slowly toward the employee break room. A woman approached Josh. Did you get all of that? Yeah, Josh said, his eyes wide. I got all of it. You have to post that online, a man said. The whole world needs to see that. Josh looked at the door where Marcus had fled. He looked down at the video on his phone. He knew the man was rich and powerful. He felt a flicker of fear, but he also looked toward the break room, where the old woman had gone. He thought of her single tear. He thought of her quiet voice speaking truth to the loud, rich man. That evening, in his small apartment, Josh ate a frozen dinner and stared at his computer. The video file was ready. He typed a title. Rich man asks poor lady for money advice, her answer destroys him. He hit upload. He did not know it then, but he had just lit a match that would set Marcus Sterling's world on fire. The video was viewed 100,000 times before Josh went to sleep. When he woke up the next morning, it had been seen over 2 million times. His phone buzzed nonstop on his nightstand. Notifications flooded the screen. He picked it up, his eyes still blurry with sleep. Dude, a text from a friend read. Is this your video? It's everywhere. Josh sat up. He opened a news app. A headline from a Chicago news site read, Danville Walmart Showdown. Heiress confronts tycoon with his grandmother's secret. He clicked on it. There was his video, clear as day, embedded in the article. He scrolled. Other sites had picked it up. Local woman's truth bombshell leaves millionaire speechless. The viral moment of real talk in an Illinois Walmart. He got out of bed. He felt a strange mix of excitement and fear. He had done this. At a luxury high-rise in Chicago, Marcus Sterling's phone began to ring at 6 o'clock in the morning. He had not slept. He sat in a large leather chair in his dark living room, still wearing the clothes from yesterday. He looked at the screen. It was Robert Cho, his head of public relations. Marcus let it go to voicemail. The phone rang again immediately. It was his lawyer. He silenced the phone and turned on the large television. He flipped to a morning news show. Two cheerful hosts were talking. "And the internet is calling it the Walmart wake-up call," said the female host. "The raw emotion in that aisle is something you just don't see every day." They played a clip. There he was, his face pale, holding the phone box. Eleanor's soft, clear voice filled his silent apartment. "You need to remember where you came from. And you need to remember all the people you walked over." Marcus turned the television off. The silence was worse. His intercom buzzed. He walked over and pressed the button. "Yes?" "Mr. Sterling." His doorman's voice came through, sounding nervous. "There are, several people with cameras outside. They are asking for you. Should I call the police?" "No," Marcus said, his voice rough. "Just keep them away from the doors." He walked to the window, keeping to the side, and looked down. A small crowd of reporters and camera operators stood on the sidewalk. He saw the logos of local news stations. His personal phone, the one he had before the Walmart phone, buzzed with a text. It was from Alan, a business partner on a big downtown development deal. Marcus saw the news. "The board is having emergency talks. Call me ... Asterisk. Another text came in from a so-called friend who hosted charity galas. "Thought you should know, the committee is reconsidering the honoree spot for next month. Awful timing. Let's talk soon ... Asterisk. The phone rang again. It was his sister, Melissa. He stared at her name on the screen. He did not answer. He knew what she would say. He could not hear it. Not yet. He felt a crushing weight on his chest. It was the shame from the store, but now it was mixed with a cold, clear fear. His world, the one he built with his own 2 hands, was cracking. People were not just laughing at him online. They were stepping back from him in real life. His money, his power. It suddenly felt thin and fragile. He thought of Eleanor Dawson. Where was she? What was she doing right now? Was she watching this? In Danville, a news van was parked outside a small, neat apartment building. A reporter, a young woman with a microphone, stood at the door of apartment number 4. She knocked again. An elderly man from the next apartment opened his door a crack. "You looking for Eleanor?" "Yes, sir," the reporter said, smiling brightly. "Do you know where she is?" "She left last night," the man said. "Carried 1 small suitcase to a cab, real late. I was letting my dog out. I asked if she was okay. She just said she was going to visit family." "Do you know which family? Or where?" the reporter asked. The man shook his head. "She kept to herself. Nice lady. Always said hello. But private, you know." He closed his door. The reporter turned to the camera. "It appears Eleanor Dawson, the woman at the center of this viral firestorm, has quietly left town. The question on everyone's mind now is, where did she go, and what does Marcus Sterling have to say?" Back in his dark apartment, Marcus saw that live report on his silent television. He watched as the camera showed Eleanor's empty doorstep. She was gone. She had told her truth and simply walked away, leaving him alone in the wreckage. He put his head in his hands. For the first time since he was a boy, Marcus Sterling had no idea what to do next. The only thing he knew was that he had to find her. 2 days later, Marcus sat in his office. The blinds were closed. The news vans were gone from his building, but they were now parked outside his company's headquarters. He had not left his apartment until now. He picked up his office phone. His assistant's voice came through. "Mr. Sterling? Did you find someone?" Marcus asked. His voice was flat. "Yes, sir. His name is Bill Cooper. He's a private investigator based in Peoria. He is discreet. He is waiting for your call." "Give me the number." Marcus wrote it down on a clean white notepad. He stared at the digits for a full minute before dialing. A man answered on the second ring. "Cooper." "This is Marcus Sterling," Marcus said. There was a short pause on the other end. "I figured you might call," Bill Cooper said. His voice was calm, neutral. "You want me to find Eleanor Dawson?" "Yes," Marcus said. He felt a strange relief saying it out loud. "I need to talk to her." "Understood," Bill said. "My standard rate is $500 a day plus expenses. I'll need a retainer. I'll also need everything you know about her." "I don't know anything," Marcus admitted, the shame burning his throat. "Just her name, and that she knew my grandmother in Danville." "That's a start," Bill said. Marcus could hear the sound of a keyboard tapping. I'll begin today. I'll call you with updates. Do not contact me. I will contact you." The line went dead. Marcus put the phone down. For the first time in 48 hours, he had a task. He had a thread to pull. 3 days passed. Marcus went through the motions at work. His employees avoided his eyes. Meetings were quiet and tense. He checked his personal phone constantly, waiting for Bill Cooper's call. It came on the 4th day, just after lunch. "Sterling," Marcus answered, closing his office door. "I found her," Bill said. His tone was different. It wasn't just professional, it was surprised. "Where?" Marcus stood up. "That's not the interesting part," Bill said. "The interesting part is who she is, or rather who she was." "What are you talking about?" "Eleanor Dawson was born Eleanor Vance, Chicago, old money, the kind that doesn't put their name on buildings." Marcus sat back down slowly. Old money? Her family lost most of it decades ago, but she had a great aunt, a very private, very rich woman named Beatrice Vance. When Beatrice died, she left everything to Eleanor. It was a quiet inheritance, no news stories. It was a trust fund, a large one. Marcus felt the room spin. "How large?" "Large enough," Bill said, avoiding the exact number. "The point is, Eleanor Dawson has not been a poor retired saleswoman, not for a long time." "Then why was she working at Walmart? Why does she live in a small apartment?" "That's the next part," Bill said. Marcus heard papers shuffling. "About 8 years ago, she started a charitable fund. She called it the Clara Project. Named after your grandmother, I assume?" Marcus's breath caught. "It's not registered as a big public charity. It's a private fund. She runs it herself with one lawyer. They pay bills directly. Medical bills mostly. For retired house cleaners, elderly caretakers, janitors, people with no insurance and big hospital debts. She pays the bills anonymously. The hospital just gets a check from a trust. The patient never knows where it came from." Marcus was silent. He could not form a single word. "She has been giving away almost all of her income from that trust for years," Bill continued. "She kept just enough to rent that apartment in Danville and live simply. She took the job at Walmart, according to a neighbor, to have a routine and to see people. She didn't need the money." "Where is she now?" Marcus finally whispered. "She's in Chicago. She's staying at a women's shelter on the west side, not as a guest. She's volunteering there. She arrived the night she left Danville. A women's shelter." Marcus tried to fit the image of the woman from Walmart with this new truth. A secret heiress, a silent benefactor, a volunteer in a shelter. "She didn't run from the news," Bill said, as if reading his mind. "She just went back to her real work, the work she's been doing all along." Bill gave him the address of the shelter. It was called the Holy Light Community Center. Marcus wrote it down with a trembling hand. "Do you want me to do anything else?" Bill asked. "No," Marcus said. "Send me your final bill." He hung up the phone. He looked out his window at the city he thought he owned. He thought of Eleanor Dawson, folding $6 shirts with hands that could write checks to save strangers. He thought of his own hands, holding a phone he didn't need, in a store he claimed he could buy. He had wanted to find her to make himself feel better. Now he had found her, and he had never felt smaller. The doorbell to his apartment rang, sharp and insistent. Marcus didn't move from his chair. He was still holding the address Bill Cooper had given him. The bell rang again, followed by 3 hard knocks. "Marcus, I know you're in there. Open the door or I'll use my key." It was his sister, Melissa. He hadn't spoken to her in months. He slowly walked to the door and opened it. Melissa stood there. She was 4 years younger. She wore jeans and a simple jacket. Her eyes were red, like she had been crying, but her expression was hard. She pushed past him into the apartment. "You look terrible," she said, not looking at him. "Hello to you too," Marcus said, closing the door. Melissa turned to face him. "I saw the video, Marcus. The whole world saw it." "I know," he said, his voice quiet. "No, you don't know." Melissa's voice broke. "You don't know what it was like to watch that, to hear that woman talk about Grandma Clara, to hear her say those things, and know that every single one of them is true." Marcus looked at the floor. "Did you ever visit her grave?" Melissa asked. "After the funeral, just once?" Marcus said nothing. The truth was, he had not. "I go every year on her birthday," Melissa said. "I put flowers there. I tell her about my life. I was there 2 months ago." You were in Paris closing some deal. It was an important deal, Marcus mumbled, but the words felt hollow even to him. To who? To you, Melissa shouted. She wiped a tear from her cheek angrily. That woman in the store. She knew Grandma better than you did. She loved her. What did you ever do? You took her money and you forgot her. I didn't know it was her money, Marcus shot back, finally looking up. That's the point, Melissa cried. You never asked. You never wondered. Dad just handed you that check and you took it and built your empire and you never looked back. You walked over all of us. Me, Mom, Dad, but walking over Grandma Clara? That's the lowest thing. Her words hit him like physical blows. He had no defense. I came here because Mom is crying, Melissa said, her voice lower now, trembling. Reporters called her. She's ashamed. She doesn't know what to say. She asked me to talk to you, to see if you're okay. I'm not okay, Marcus said, and it was the most honest thing he had said in years. Melissa studied his face. She saw the dark circles under his eyes. She saw the man who was always perfectly put together, now looking broken. Good, she said softly, but without cruelty. You shouldn't be okay. What you did was horrible. What you've been for years is horrible. I can fix it, Marcus said, though he didn't know how. You can't fix the past, Melissa said. You can only fix what you do now, and I don't know if you know how to do anything that doesn't involve a contract or a check. His phone, sitting on the table next to the notepad with the shelter's address, began to vibrate. They both looked at it. The screen showed unknown caller. It was Bill Cooper, with the final details. Melissa saw the address written on the pad. Asterisk, the Holy Light Community Center. What's that? She asked. It's where she is, Marcus said, picking up the phone but not answering the call. Eleanor Dawson, the investigator, found her. Melissa's eyes widened. What are you going to do? Send her a nasty letter from your lawyer? Marcus shook his head. He looked at his sister, truly looked at her for the first time in a long time. I'm going to go there. I'm going to talk to her. Melissa stared at him, searching for a lie. She found none. She saw only confusion and pain. She's volunteering at a soup kitchen, Marcus added, as if this fact proved his sincerity. A long silence filled the room. Melissa walked to the door. She paused with her hand on the knob. Grandma Clara would want you to be better, she said, not turning around. Not richer. Better. She left, closing the door quietly behind her. Marcus stood alone in the silence of his expensive apartment. The vibration of the phone had stopped. He had the address. He had his sister's words ringing in his ears. He picked up his car keys from the table. He didn't pack a bag. He didn't make a plan. He just walked out the door and headed for the garage. He was going to drive to Chicago. He was going to find Eleanor Dawson. The Holy Light Community Center was a large, old brick building. The front doors were painted a bright blue. Inside, the air was warm and smelled of vegetable soup and bread. Eleanor stood behind a long serving table. She wore a simple blue apron over her clothes. She held a large ladle. A line of people moved past her, men and women. Some old, some young. Some held trays, some held plates. More carrots, dear? Eleanor asked a thin man with a tired face. Yes, please, he said quietly. She carefully ladled a portion of steamed carrots onto his plate. There you go. The bread is fresh today. Thank you, Miss Eleanor, he said, and gave her a small smile. She returned the smile with a gentle one of her own. This was her third day here. No one recognized her. In this place, she was just another volunteer. It was a relief. She moved down the line to help serve slices of bread. A younger volunteer named Sophia worked beside her. You have a real way with them, Eleanor, Sophia said, wiping her hands on her apron. They trust you. I just listen, Eleanor said, placing a slice of bread on a child's plate. It's more than that, Sophia said. You're calm. It's nice. After the lunch service ended, Eleanor helped clear the tables. She carried a tub of dirty dishes to the big industrial kitchen in the back. The kitchen was loud with the clang of pots and the spray of water. Eleanor, you don't have to do the dishes every day, said a tall man named Leo, who ran the kitchen. We have younger folks for that. I like the work, Eleanor said, tying an apron around her waist. It's honest, and it needs to be done. She stood at a deep stainless steel sink. She turned on the hot water. She began to wash, plate by plate, bowl by bowl. She scrubbed off the dried food. She rinsed each item in clear hot water. She placed them in a rack to be dried. The work was hard on her hands, but it felt good. It felt real. As she washed, her mind wandered. She thought of Danville. She wondered if Josh, the boy from the electronics counter, was okay. She hoped the attention hadn't caused him trouble. Mostly she thought of Clara, her best friend. They would talk for hours in Eleanor's old kitchen while Clara polished the silver. Clara would talk about her grandson, Marcus. Her eyes would shine with so much hope. "He's so smart, Ellie," Clara would say. "He's going to do big things." Eleanor would nod and smile. She never doubted it. But she had also seen the change in him over the years, through Clara's worried stories. The boy who loved his grandma became the man too busy to call her. A tear mixed with the dishwater. Eleanor wiped her cheek with her shoulder. "Penny for your thoughts?" Leo asked, bringing over another tub of cups. "Just thinking about an old friend," Eleanor said. "The one you're here honoring?" Leo asked gently. He had seen the name on the small donation checks she wrote to the center from the Clara Project. Eleanor nodded. "I think I upset her grandson. I told him some hard truths." Leo leaned against the counter. "Truth is a funny thing. Sometimes it's a medicine, sometimes it's a knife. Depends on the person hearing it." "I hope it was medicine," Eleanor said softly, scrubbing at a stubborn bit of oatmeal. "Even if it hurts at first." She finished the last pot. Her back ached, but her heart felt lighter. This was her world. Not the internet, not the news. This steamy kitchen, these clean dishes, these people getting a warm meal. She hung up her apron. She said goodbye to Sophia and Leo. She walked out the blue doors into the cool Chicago afternoon. She intended to walk to the small room she was renting a few blocks away. She did not see the black luxury car that had just pulled up to the curb a little way down the street. She did not see the man inside, staring at the building, gripping his steering wheel, trying to find the courage to open his door. He watched her walk out of the blue doors. She looked smaller than he remembered. She paused on the steps, adjusting her scarf against the wind. She began walking down the street, away from his car. Marcus's hand fumbled for the door handle. He pushed it open and stepped out onto the curb. "Eleanor." His voice sounded strange to him, too loud on the quiet street. She stopped walking. She turned slowly. She saw him standing beside the expensive car. She showed no surprise. Her pale green eyes just watched him, waiting. He walked toward her. His fine leather shoes scraped on the sidewalk. People from the soup kitchen were milling around outside, smoking, talking. They grew quiet, watching the well-dressed man approach the old volunteer. Marcus stopped a few feet from her. He could smell the soap and steam from the kitchen on her clothes. He tried to speak, but the words he had practiced in the car vanished. His throat tightened. To his horror, he felt his eyes begin to burn with tears. He started. He looked at the ground, shaking his head. When he looked up, a tear escaped and rolled down his cheek. He did not wipe it away. "I am so sorry." Eleanor said nothing. Her expression was not angry. It was patient, deeply sad. "I didn't know," he whispered, the words ragged. "About the money, about the land, about any of it." He took a shuddering breath. I don't know how to fix this." Eleanor studied his face for a long moment. She saw the genuine tears. She saw the shattered pride. She looked past him, at his car, and then back at his expensive, useless suit. "Do you want to fix it?" she asked, her voice as soft as it was in the store. "Yes," he said immediately, the word bursting from him. "Please." Eleanor nodded slowly. She turned and walked back toward the blue doors of the Holy Light Community Center. She did not look to see if he was following. Marcus stood frozen for a second, then hurried after her. He followed her through the main room, past the empty tables. He followed her into the loud, steamy kitchen. Leo, the kitchen manager, was stacking clean trays. He looked up, his eyes widening at the sight of Marcus. "Eleanor, everything okay?" "It's fine, Leo," Eleanor said. She walked over to the big stainless steel sink. It was full of dirty pots and pans from the afternoon's cooking. The water had been drained, leaving a stack of greasy, food-caked metal. She picked up a clean apron from a hook. She held it out to Marcus. He stared at it, confused. "Put this on," she said. Marcus took the apron. It was coarse blue cloth. He clumsily tied it over his suit jacket. He felt ridiculous. Eleanor pointed to the sink. "Start by washing these dishes." Marcus blinked. He looked at the mountain of dirty pots. He looked at his own hands. They were soft. He had not washed a dish since he was a teenager. "What? You said you want to fix things," Eleanor said. Her tone was not unkind, but it allowed no argument. "This is where you start. Wash them, all of them. Use hot water and soap. Scrub until they are clean." Leo watched, his arms crossed, not offering to help. Marcus looked from the sink to Eleanor's calm, expectant face. He thought of walking away. He could get back in his car and drive to his office. He could call his lawyer, but he thought of his sister's words. Asterisk. You can only fix what you do now. He stepped up to the sink. He looked at the dirty water faucet. He turned it on. Hot water blasted out. He picked up a scouring pad and a bottle of soap. He squirted soap into the largest pot. It was crusted with baked-on beans. He plunged his hands into the sink. The hot water was a shock. He began to scrub. The work was hard. The grease did not want to come off. He scrubbed harder, his suit sleeve getting soaked. He did not look at Eleanor. He focused on the pot, on the simple, difficult task. Scrub, rinse, place in the rack, one pot, then another. He did not see Eleanor exchange a quiet look with Leo. He did not see Leo's slight nod of approval. He only heard the water and the scrape of the scrub pad and the beating of his own heart. For the first time in 20 years, Marcus Sterling was doing something that did not make him money. It just needed to be done. He came back the next day, and the day after that. Marcus arrived at the Holy Light Community Center every morning at 8 o'clock. He wore old jeans and a plain t-shirt under the blue volunteer apron. He did not talk much. He listened to Leo's instructions. "Today you mop the dining hall," Leo said on the third day, handing him a heavy mop bucket. Marcus nodded. He filled the bucket with hot water and cleaning solution. He pushed the mop across the worn tile floor. The work was boring and hard on his arms. He did it anyway. He saw Eleanor often. She worked on the other side of the kitchen, chopping vegetables or sorting donations. She would glance at him, but she did not speak to him. She was waiting. During meal services, Marcus was put on potato duty. He stood at a table with a giant bag of potatoes and a peeler. His job was to peel every single potato. His hands grew sore. He kept peeling. One afternoon, an older man named Walter sat at the peeling table with him. Walter had a kind face and rough hands. "You're the new guy," Walter said, picking up a potato. "The one from the news." Marcus froze, the peeler in his hand. He did not know what to say. "It's okay," Walter said softly. "We all have pasts here. Mine involves 2 bad decisions and a lot of pride." He peeled a potato in one long, perfect curl. "Why are you really here?" Marcus looked down at the potato in his own hand. "I hurt someone. I didn't mean to, but I did. I think I've hurt a lot of people without seeing them." Walter nodded slowly. "And peeling potatoes helps?" "I don't know," Marcus admitted. "But it's the first thing in a long time that feels real." Walter smiled. "That's a start then. A real start." After a week of silent work, Eleanor finally approached him. It was late. The kitchen was clean and quiet. Marcus was wiping down the last of the stainless steel counters. "You have been consistent," Eleanor said, leaning against the counter. Marcus stopped wiping. He turned to face her. "I said I wanted to fix it." "Fixing it is not about dishes or potatoes," she said. Her green eyes were serious. "Your grandmother, Clara, she saved money for you out of love. You used that money to build a business that crushed people. You built on land you took from me." Marcus's shoulders slumped. "I know. I am so ashamed." "Shame is not enough," Eleanor said. Her voice was firm. "Your grandmother would want you to help, really help. You need to pay the money back." "I will," Marcus said quickly. "I'll write you a check right now. For the land, for the loan, with interest. Just tell me the number." Eleanor shook her head. "Not to me. You will never pay a single dollar to me." Marcus was confused. "Then what?" "You will repay every cent into the Clara Project," she said. "The fund that helps people like her. People who work until their hands ache and still can't pay a doctor. You will put the money there. You will put it there, and you will not tell anyone you did it." Marcus stared at her. He thought of the investigator's report, the secret charity, the anonymous checks. She was asking him to join her in the shadows. "It will be a lot of money," he said quietly. "It should be," Eleanor replied. "It is debt, a debt you owe to your past. Paying it will not make you a hero. It will just make you a man who finally paid what he owed." She took a folded piece of paper from her apron pocket. She handed it to him. It had the legal name of the trust and the instructions for how to wire money into it. "Do you agree?" she asked. Marcus looked at the paper. He thought of his grandmother's blistered hands. He thought of Eleanor's old orchard. He thought of the tired faces in the soup kitchen line. "Yes," he said. His voice was clear. "I agree." Eleanor studied him for a long moment. Then she gave a single slow nod. "Good. Start tomorrow. And keep coming here to wash the dishes. You are not done learning." She walked out of the kitchen, leaving him alone with the clean counters and the weight of his promise. For the first time, the weight did not feel like shame. It felt like a direction. The changes at Sterling Holdings started small. Marcus sent an email. He told his managers to review all contracts with small suppliers. He said they must pay them on time, every time. He said they should not use harsh legal tricks to get out of deals. David, his chief financial officer, came into his office the next day. He closed the door. "Marcus, what is this email?" David asked. He held a printed copy. "Paying the small printers on time? We always drag that out for 90 days. It's how we manage cash flow." "It's how we strangle their cash flow," Marcus said, looking up from his desk. "We have the money. They don't. We're going to pay in 30 days now." David stared at him. "Is this about the Walmart video? Are you trying to look nice for the public?" "It's about doing business a different way," Marcus said, his voice even. David shook his head. "The board will not like this. It cuts into profit margins." "Let them not like it," Marcus said. He went back to his work. 2 weeks later, the big test came. It was the Lakeshore Plaza deal, a massive project to build a shopping center. Sterling Holdings was the main investor. They had a deal with a large construction company, Bronson Builders. The contract was almost final. Marcus's head lawyer, Susan, came into his office with David. They both looked serious. "We have a problem with Bronson," Susan said. "Their safety inspection reports are not good. There are violations, small ones but many. Our old clause, Clause 17, lets us force a renegotiation. We can cut their fee by 15% if we threaten to walk away. They can't afford to lose us." Marcus leaned back in his chair. "Or we could just point out the violations and ask them to fix them." David made a frustrated sound. "Marcus, no. This is how the deal works. We save over $4 million, it's just business. Bronson will grumble, but they'll accept the lower fee. They have to. It's not just business to them," Marcus said, thinking of the potato peeler, Walter. "That's their profit. That's their employees' pay." "Since when do you care?" David snapped. "You wrote Clause 17. You said it was our silent hammer. If we don't use this leverage, we are throwing money away. The board will see it as weakness. The other investors will see it as weakness." Marcus stood up and walked to the window. He looked out at the city. He thought of Eleanor's words. Asterisk. You need to pay the money back. Using the clause felt like stealing. It felt exactly like the low offer his lawyers made to a sick Eleanor for her land. "If we do the right thing here, we lose the extra profit," Susan said, her tone cautious. "The deal might even get shaky. Other investors might pull out if they think we're being sentimental." Marcus turned to face them. "Tell Bronson we saw the reports. Give them 30 days to fix the violations. Keep their fee the same." David's face turned red. "This is a mistake, Marcus. A huge mistake." "It's my decision," Marcus said quietly. 2 days later, the call came. David stood in Marcus's office, his phone on speaker. "Sterling," a gruff voice said. It was Carl Bronson, the owner of the construction company. "We got your note about the violations. We'll fix them. But we also heard you're not enforcing Clause 17. My guys think you're getting soft. The other big investors think you're unstable now. They're pulling out. The project is dead." The line went silent. David put his head in his hands. "We just lost $40 million in future profit," David said, his voice hollow, "because you wanted to be nice." Marcus felt a cold knot in his stomach. $40 million. It was a huge number. He thought about his bank accounts, his properties. He could survive the loss. but his reputation as a tough, smart deal-maker was gone. "I'll handle the board," Marcus said, his voice surprisingly steady. That evening, he drove to the soup kitchen. He did not tell Eleanor what happened. He just put on his apron and walked into the kitchen. Leo saw his face. "Rough day?" "I lost a very big deal today," Marcus said, tying his apron strings. "Ah," Leo said, nodding. "For a good reason or a bad reason?" "For a good reason, I think," Marcus said. He wasn't sure. "Then it's not a loss," Leo said, handing him a scrub brush. "It's just a different result. The pots are over there." Marcus walked to the sink. He turned on the hot water. He started to scrub a burnt soup pot. The work was hard and simple. As he scrubbed, the cold knot in his stomach began to loosen. He had chosen. He had kept his promise to be different. For the first time in his life, losing money didn't feel like the end of the world. It felt like the start of something he couldn't yet name. 3 months later, Marcus sold his penthouse apartment. He bought a smaller, comfortable house near Lincoln Park. He did not tell anyone about the sale. He just did it. Every Tuesday and Thursday, he arrived at the Holy Light Community Center at 8 o'clock in the morning. He mopped floors. He peeled potatoes. He washed dishes. The other volunteers called him Mark now. He liked the sound of it. Every Friday, he sent a large transfer of money from his personal accounts to the Clara Project Fund. He followed Eleanor's instructions exactly. He never attached his name. The money was a quiet payment on a loud debt. One afternoon, his phone rang with a number from Danville, Illinois. He answered. "Mr. Sterling? This is Josh Miller, from Walmart." Marcus sat down on a bench outside the soup kitchen. "Josh, hello." I made something," Josh said. His voice was nervous but excited. "A short film about what happened, about you and Eleanor, and what you're doing now." Marcus felt a chill. "What do you mean, what I'm doing now?" "I've been checking up," Josh admitted. "I called the soup kitchen. I talked to Leo. He said you were there all the time. He said you were different. I drove to Chicago last week. I filmed you, from a distance. You were carrying boxes of food from a truck." Marcus was silent. He didn't know whether to be angry or afraid. "It's not a hit piece," Josh said quickly. "It's the opposite. It's called The Second Chapter. It shows the Walmart video, but then it shows you here, working. It shows you talking to Walter. It's about change. I want to post it online." "Why?" Marcus asked. "Because the first video was about tearing you down," Josh said. His voice was more sure now. "And that felt good for a minute. But this feels more important. It shows people can change. I want to put it out there." Marcus looked at the blue doors of the soup kitchen. He thought about it. "You don't need my permission." "I know," Josh said. "But I wanted to tell you. I'll send you the link before I post it." The short film went online the next day. Josh used the same account he used for the first video. The title was simple. What Happened Next? The Walmart Man's Second Chapter. It was viewed 1 million times in the first day. The comments were different this time. "Okay, I wasn't expecting this. He's really doing the work, literally. Give the guy a chance. I don't know if I forgive him, but I respect this." A week later, Eleanor handed Marcus a cup of coffee in the soup kitchen. It was a break between lunch and dinner prep. She had not mentioned Josh's film. He didn't know if she had seen it. "You have calluses," she said, looking at his hands resting on the counter. Marcus looked at his palms. They were rough now. "From the scrub brushes," Eleanor nodded slowly. She took a sip of her own tea. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment. "I spoke to my sister last week," Marcus said quietly. "We had dinner. It wasn't perfect, but it was good." Eleanor looked at him. A very small, gentle smile touched her lips. It was just a slight softening around her eyes and mouth, but it was there. "Clara would be glad to hear that," she said. At that moment, looking at Eleanor's faint smile, Marcus felt something warm and solid settle in his chest. It was not the thrill of closing a deal. It was not the pride of a big purchase. It was quieter. It was deeper. He knew his journey was not over. He had a lot to learn. He had more to give back. But as he stood in the steamy kitchen with his calloused hands wrapped around a cheap mug, Marcus Sterling knew one thing for certain. This feeling right here was better than making his first $1 million.